Welcome to episode 2 of Baking and Boozing. I am Amber, your host and chef for today. I'd like to introduce you to a very good friend of mine. His name is Tim. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Amber.
How's it going today?
It's going quite well. It's a very beautiful day in Boston.
Tim and I actually met on the job. We both worked at a coffee and beignet shop, which once we both realized how much we really appreciate sweets and baking and all that, we started making trips to other sweet shops in New Orleans together and just kind of exploring the city. And then we kind of expanded that to different lunch spots. So yeah, we really started bonding over our love for sweets and then our love for good cuisine and then just, being out and about in New Orleans, having a good time. I mean, there was always something to do, a place to explore. So that really, I feel like, solidified our friendship. I can't believe it's been 7 years that you've been in Boston because we met a little while before you moved to Boston. So that means we've been friends for more than 7 years. Thank you, technology. We have been able to keep in touch now that both of us have moved far, far away from our favorite city. Again, I'm doing this video because I was challenged by a friend of mine to up my presence on camera. I very much hate being on camera, but Tim, let's talk about you being on camera. Where do you stand?
Not great. I've had very limited experience in front of the camera.
I'm feeling the same way you are. The second we started recording, I was just like, and I had to do a little pep talk for both of us. Like, we're adults. This isn't gonna kill us. We're gonna make it. So having friends who are so supportive and agreeing to help me out, even though they have the exact same phobia as me, that just really means a lot. I couldn't be more grateful.
You're very welcome. It is my absolute pleasure.
But yeah.
Mhm.
Before we get started, I do want to ask on a scale, and I was originally going to ask from a scale of 1 to 10, but after my last guest, we're going to ask from 0 to 10. How comfortable are you with baking? I know it was a surprise when she asked me to downgrade the level of scale. So we're gonna do it. So 0 to 10. How comfortable are you with baking, with being in the kitchen?
I'd say at least like an 8. I bake fairly often and I've baked a lot over the years. So I'd say like an advanced home baker, like nothing of the professional level, but I feel fairly confident in my kitchen.
I've seen some of the stuff that you've made. It's really good. And I have to ask, what's your favorite thing that you have made so far?
I love cake personally, and so trying to build a really pretty and flavorful cake from scratch has been a challenge, but it's developed over the years. And it was my mom's 60th birthday, which I compromised with her. I'm like, we're in a pandemic, but I will fly down to go celebrate your birthday, but I will not be going for holidays because I wanted to avoid travel during the holidays. So I made for her a chocolate cake filled with strawberry curd, topped with chocolate Italian buttercream and dark chocolate covered strawberries. I was super happy with it. I flew with that cake from Boston to New Orleans and it made it in one piece.
Oh, I didn't realize that you had made it in Boston. That is impressive. I have flown with a styrofoam cake before, and that was a stressful situation. I can't even imagine oh my gosh.
Yep. It was an adventure. So yes. I made it the day before and refrigerated it overnight. So it was in transit for about 5.5 to 6 hours. So I feel like that was a very good pinnacle for me in terms of cake projects.
I want to ask about your comfort level of mixing drinks. Do you ever just mix some fruit juices together or like a mocktail of any sort?
No, I really don't. I'm a fairly boring person when it comes to drinks. 99% of what I drink is water.
Water.
Like no coffee, no tea, just water. I do appreciate a good mocktail. Like if I've gone out with friends and they have mocktail options, I'd usually get one to treat myself. So I'm intrigued.
Good. Well, I mean, we're going to step it up a notch for you today. It's going to be a raspberry lemonade, and then I'm going to make a raspberry vodka lemonade. It'll go nicely with the roulade that I chose for today, which this was a slight snafu on my part. I sent Tim the recipe so that he can get all the ingredients that he needed. My plan was for us to make a pistachio and raspberry roulade or jelly roll. And then this morning I was looking through my recipe, making sure that I had all the ingredients set out for today. And I was looking through it and I was like, well, where does the pistachio flour go? Whoops. So as soon as we got on this morning, I was like, hey, did you happen to pick up pistachio flour? Is that something that you just have? And we're like, no, So we're gonna keep going, and it's gonna be tasty. It's just gonna be vanilla roulade, or actually, if you have almond extract and you want to use that, that would make a nice
Really?
flavor. Yeah. And then we'll both fill our roulades with a cream cheese and raspberry filling, and then we'll make our refreshing raspberry lemonade to complement that delicious dessert that we're gonna make. For our jelly roll recipe today, we need 4 eggs, 130 grams of sucrose, which is just plain sugar. We need 130 grams of AP flour for Tim. What I'm going to do is use half of that as AP flour and half of that as pistachio flour so I can have that nice little pistachio flavor. I'm going to use 5 grams of vanilla extract with that. Tim, have you decided, are you going to use vanilla or are you going to do almond?
I think I'm going to do both.
Ooh, all right. So Tim's going to use both flavorings, which is going to be delicious. In addition to those, we'll need 2 tablespoons of warm water, green food coloring if you prefer to use that, 10 to 15 raspberries, and powdered sugar. What we'll start with is preheating our oven to 375.
Okay.
Our very first step for today is going to be whisking our eggs and our sugar together. We want to make sure that those are light and fluffy.
So all 4 eggs and all the sugar go into our mixing bowl?
Yes, that is correct. Okay, I'm going to add in my 130 grams of sucrose. We are going to start whipping our eggs and our sugar together. What we are looking for is a light and fluffy consistency. It should take a couple of minutes, so I'll see you in just a minute. Okay.
How pale are we wanting these eggs to look?
A pale yellow, I guess, is the right color that we're looking for. And it should be fluffy. How's yours looking?
Looking pale and fluffy.
Perfect. We will add our water, food coloring, and vanilla extract. We just want to whisk to incorporate, and then we will fold in our sifted flour. I don't know about you, but I put a very large drop of green in my egg mixture. So I've got our green colored mix. Next thing we're gonna do is just fold in our flour.
Do you want all the flour going in at once? Or
that's a good question. So for this, we're gonna do 3 or 4 batches. Okay, and I'm just gonna fold. How liquidy is yours?
Fairly liquidy.
Okay, mine is liquidy, and that always makes me nervous.
Yeah.
Usually it's fine, but I like for my recipes to warn me it's going to be liquidy. I have this beautiful vanilla cake batter that when I put it in the oven, it is basically soup. And I get nervous every single time, but it always turns out nicely. It's really just to incorporate all of your flour into your soup.
But I'm always nervous when I fold flour into batter that I like miss pockets of it. And so when I'm pouring out the batter, I'll find little splotches of flour. I'm like, oh no. So I like quickly mix it in before sticking it into the oven.
Same. But that's okay. I think it's important for people to know, like, I'm not 100% confident all the time with my baking, especially when you're trying new recipes. It doesn't always look the way that you'd be comfortable with. There's a learning curve every time you try a new recipe.
Exactly.
But I will say this does look really nice.
It smells really good with the vanilla and the almond.
Ooh, I bet that's really good. This pistachio smells pretty good too. Always make sure that you scrape the bottom of your bowl, because if any ingredients settle, that's where they're going to be. That'll also give you that panic moment of, oh no, that's not mixed in, and I have to do it on the fly as it's settling into your pan.
Exactly.
How's your batter looking? Mine is so fluffy and pretty. I mean, it's very soupy, but look at that. Oh, I love it.
It's thick and dark, so you can see mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking good.
We don't want to overmix our batter. We don't want to agitate too much. So once it's fully incorporated, all we're going to do is just pour it onto our jelly roll pan. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pour my batter in.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, look, pockets of flour that I didn't incorporate.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're going to spread it out.
Yes, to get it evened out. I'm going to give it a little bit of a tap. I know we need the air from the whipping that we did in the eggs. I don't want it to have super big air bubbles.
Yeah.
There it is, Tim. Show it who's boss.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and put these babies in, and they are going to bake for about 10 to 15 minutes. Let's do it. I'm going to start scaling out for my cream cheese frosting. What I'm going to do is start by beating together my cream cheese, which is 12 ounces, and my butter, which is 170 grams. I don't know why I have it in both grams and ounces, but there it is. So you'll beat those two together until they're fully incorporated. After that, we are going to beat in our vanilla extract and then powdered sugar to make it stiffen up so that it'll hold its own shape. Scale out my 170 grams of butter.
But
What are we without butter? I mean,
there,
probably healthy. I never realized how much of a Southern thing that really is, because I never thought twice about using butter in recipes and, for savory cooking, for baking. It never crossed my mind that it was a lot until I started hanging out with people who were not from the South, and they're just like, that is so much butter. What are you doing? I'm like, I'm enjoying my food. What do you think I'm doing? Apparently, this isn't normal everywhere else in the US or maybe in the world. I don't know. Being in Boston, do you hear people commenting on butter usage, or is that just me?
I don't think I've heard it a lot up here, or maybe it's just like the people I surround myself with that they are also pro butter.
Yeah.
I've heard nary a complaint about the amount of butter.
I'm glad to hear that. By the way, that was our timer, so I'm going to go ahead and rotate my cake, and we'll see how it's going. Nice and fluffy. It smells amazing.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that smell is very intoxicating.
I'm so excited about that. How much time do you think you'll need?
I might not need that much more time.
Yeah.
I might do it to 10.
I think I'm going to do that too, because it looked pretty big. Because these cakes are so thin, they're going to take way less time than a normal cake. So I'm going to put mine on for another 3 minutes. I'm going to start beating together my butter and my cream cheese. And that is going to be done with my paddle attachment. Make sure that you beat them together. You want them incorporated, and then always have your spatula on hand so that you can scrape down the side. So that should take great. Should take just a couple minutes, and then our cake should be coming out very soon.
One of the things I've learned in my years of baking is that there's like a certain smell in the air when you can tell when a cake or a baked good is done, that you sense it. I'm like, oh yes, it's time to take it out.
I love that. My chefs, when they were teaching us, always said the nose knows. And I feel like I say this to everybody, but really, you're sensing it better than you think you are. You can just tell. I actually just recently got an Apple Watch, and I've been playing around with it and setting my timer on that. And I don't know why, but almost every time I've ever set a timer on that, I've canceled it or paused it. So there was one time I put macarons in the oven, and you know how sensitive those are. I popped those in the oven and set my watch, and I went and sat down and I grabbed a book and I got really into my book. And then I started smelling my macarons. I'm like, I can't believe it. My timer still hasn't gone off. So it's definitely been, speaking of my timer's going off, it's definitely been 7 minutes. I don't understand. And I was smelling it. Well, how much time do I have left? Maybe it's right on the nose. And I looked down and I had paused it 2 seconds into the timer. So I just listened to my senses. My nose told me that they were ready.
I'm sorry. I just noticed your oven mitt.
Some friends of mine from New Orleans came to visit me in Maui, and they were like, well, what should we bring you? I'm like, please don't bring me anything. I didn't have space for like anything in my Maui apartment, but they brought me this, and I'm like, I definitely have space for this guy. All right, let's take these guys out of the oven. Oh, look at that. So pretty.
It smells so good, Amber.
Good. So we're going to let this cool just a little bit, and then we're going to work on our rolling technique. Once it's cool enough that we can handle it without just absolutely burning all of our skin off. In the meantime, I'm going to beat my butter and my cream cheese together, and we will finish up with the rest of this frosting. Okay? You all mixed?
Yeah. So once the butter and cream cheese are combined, we add
your vanilla. So 5 grams of vanilla. I'm going to measure out 225 grams of powdered sugar. Because it's a frosting, 225 grams is an estimate. If you want your frosting to be stiffer than that, go ahead and add extra, but also just be aware of the taste. I'm going to start my mixer again with a mix that you're going to do with something like this. You always want to start on low because you don't want to have the dreaded snow. Yes, we've all done it. It's just one of those things that when you do it, then you really learn your lesson. But I always like to warn people before it actually happens. Start on low so you don't have this big explosion of sugar everywhere. There's this meme that I've seen that just cracks me up, and I think about it every time. Somebody's grandma standing next to her mixer, and she's got her spatula, and she's got like a dusting of powder all across her body, and she's got the look on her face that we've all made once we've dusted ourselves with powdered sugar or flour. And I think of that meme every time I get ready to mix something because, I want to make sure that I don't do that to myself. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like being a New Orleanian can also prepare you for powder explosions because of our penchant of eating beignets and the copious amounts of powdered sugar that go on top of beignets. It's like a rite of passage of getting a crap ton of powdered sugar on yourself, on your all over your clothes and pants when you're eating some beignets.
It's true. And your first time, you will almost always wear dark colors. So when you hold your beignet up, there are two things that are going to happen. First is that you're going to inhale right before you put it in your mouth, because that's just how you eat. And when you do that, you're going to inhale some of that powdered sugar and it's going to choke you. So you inhale, you start choking, and you exhale all over your beignet, and then it goes everywhere. It goes on your clothes, it goes on the table, it goes on your friends, it goes everywhere. I feel like we, growing up there, learned very early on how to manage that situation. But you're right, for everyone else going into New Orleans, that's just a rite of passage. You just have to do it wrong the first time, and then you'll never do it wrong again.
Exactly.
Right. My cream cheese frosting looks divine.
Looks good.
Okay.
Smells good and also tastes good.
I know, the smell is so good. What we're gonna do is dust our cake with some powdered sugar. This is just to make sure that it doesn't stick to the towel. Yes. Hold your sieve right over the cake and kind of pour your powdered sugar in and just get a nice even coating. So once you have your powdered sugar covering the entire top, we'll just put a fresh, clean towel over our cake and then just flip our cake over so we can remove the pan easily. And from there, we're gonna leave our parchment paper on. I'm just gonna release it from the side first. And then we're just going to take our towel and fold it over and just kind of roll the cake in the towel. Do it very gently. Your cake isn't going to love this rolling, but it'll be fine. And then just set it aside so that it will cool off.
And we're leaving the parchment paper on, you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that too. Okay. And then just.
Yeah. So it's on your towel, right?
Yep. It's on the towel.
Okay, so use your towel to guide you and just pull it and roll. You know what, Tim, I completely forgot to ask you. Have you ever done a jelly roll before?
Nope.
First time, all right.
This is my first time with you, Amber.
Well, it's looking good.
It is now rolled. So just leave it to the side, you said?
Yeah, just leave it to the side. We're gonna let it sit in that shape for a minute, just so it cools off. So I'm gonna grab my simple syrup, which we made off camera. All it is equal parts of sugar and water. You put it into a small pot, you bring it to a boil, stir it, make sure it's all incorporated, and then you just let it cool. So 3/4 of a cup of fresh squeezed lemon juice and then simple syrup. We're going to stir that and then let that just sit in the fridge. So I put my lemon juice in a container and I added about 1/4 of a cup of my simple syrup, and I'm gonna mix it together. The simple syrup amount really is up to you, just depending on how sweet or not sweet you like your desserts to be. So I'm going to grab a spoon and just do a taste test to determine whether or not I want to keep adding more simple syrup. Let's see how tasty this is. Mine is very tart, and I don't hate it, but I feel like I feel like I need some help. So I'm gonna add a little more. That one caught me right in the jaw. And I'm gonna double dip with my spoon, which if you are preparing this for other people, please do not do this. However, it's just me drinking at 11 o'clock in the morning. So, I'm gonna double dip. Okay, I think I hit the right amount for me, which was exactly 1/2 cup simple syrup with 3/4 of a cup of lemon juice. And I'm gonna put that back in the fridge and let it meld. How's yours tasting?
Tart, but I really like tart lemonade.
How much did you end up putting in?
Somewhere between 1/2 and 1/3 of a cup.
Perfect. We're doing a dessert to go with it, so we don't want an overly sweet beverage. I feel like having the more tart lemonade in our drink is going to actually be beneficial to our palate. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and frost our cake. Because it's a roulade, we're frosting the inside of the cake. All right, here we go, gently unrolling. The thing is that because cakes aren't naturally rolled, you will sometimes have cracking, and that's okay.
Do you have an estimate of how much frosting you want to put inside?
I'm gonna say that's up to you.
Okay. So with roulades, do I want to try and avoid getting too close to the edges?
Just the opposite, in fact. You want to bring it as close to the edge as you can. so that even the edge pieces have a good amount of frosting.
I am so excited to eat this after.
So I'm gonna pull this aside for just a second. I'm gonna cut up just a handful of raspberries so that I can put them on this frosting. So I'm cutting mine long ways, if that makes sense. So if my raspberry is like this, I cut it so that it goes like that.
Is there a certain pattern, I guess, you're putting the raspberries into the roulade?
You don't have to, but I am probably going to go long ways and just do, I don't know, probably 3-4 lines of raspberries. I mean, you really can just toss them on there and it doesn't have to be as neurotic as I'm about to be about it. All right, how are you doing with your raspberry placement?
So I have 3 rows made. I want to do 4.
I'm going to demonstrate here for you. That way you can see exactly what it is that I'm doing in order to get my cake to cooperate. It's probably hard to see on mine, but there is a definite curl on the edge. So you'll want to start with that one. And then just remember, your cake is delicate, but it's not going to break if you put a little muscle into it. You don't want to put too much. So that's what I'm going to do, is kind of bend my cake, but also not manhandle it to the point where it breaks. And I'm going to use my towel to help me start getting that edge up. There we go. And just fold it onto itself. Mine is also sticking to my towel. That's not good. And then I just use my towel to guide it as I roll, as I do it.
Okay.
And then I just get my roll to a settled position. And then I'm going to rewrap it so that it holds. And I'm going to place it in the refrigerator.
Okay.
Okay. So if you feel comfortable, go ahead and do the same for yours. Go ahead and roll it. So we're going to let it set while we finish off our cocktail. We'll finish decorating it and then we're going to be done. And in order to make this beverage, we're going to start by muddling, which is basically just mashing up our raspberries with some sugar, which it's 4 grams of sugar. So I'm just not even going to measure that. I'm just going to drizzle some sugar in.
And just granulated sugar, or?
Yeah, just granulated sugar. And technically it's a teaspoon, which is 4 grams. Again, this isn't something we're baking, so we can be a little lenient. And then it says about 5 raspberries. So I did bartend very briefly in New Orleans, and I picked up some cool techniques. One of them I want to share now is muddling. Really, it's about releasing the flavors from whatever it is that you're muddling. You don't want to mash it into smithereens. You just want to do 2 or 3 good smushes. And if you're going to muddle something herbaceous like mint, the thing that you're trying to do is break open the veins so that the flavoring in the veins will release. It's a delicate leaf and you don't want to pulverize it. And also you need to remember that most drinks that are shaken will also kind of beat up your muddled whatever. Your flavor will keep releasing even as you shake your cocktails. I muddled my sugar and my raspberries together, and then we're going to add in 1.5 ounces of vodka and then 4 ounces of our lemonade, which I have to tell you, Tim, I have quite a bit of vodka. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this bottle is the full length of my arm.
Oh, my goodness.
I know. It's like a friend. This has been one of my many terrible experiences with online grocery shopping. I needed vodka for a socially distanced party that we were doing. And I was like, oh, look at this vodka. It's on sale. I'll go ahead and buy it. I didn't even look to see what size it was. And it is like my full arm. Like I had to drink so much vodka.
Oh my goodness.
So anyway, that's why this bottle is super ridiculous. And this is 1.5 ounces of vodka. And then we're also going to add in 4 ounces of lemonade. Ridiculous. And then 4 ounces of lemonade, which shot glass is about 1.5 ounces. So I will do 2, which equals 3 ounces. And then I'll do another just over half. And then I'm going to just mix it all together because this is going to be served over ice. I don't need to put ice in. So I'm just going to shake it together, try to get those raspberries off the bottom.
It looks pleasantly pink and raspberry-y.
Ooh, it does look nice. Oh, it's so pretty. Here is mine. It is beautiful and pink. And I think yours is very pink because you muddled into yours and I strained mine out, which, whichever works better for you. Before I serve mine, I'm going to cut a lemon because I am all about garnish and I love to have nice looking beverages. So this I also learned while I was bartending in New Orleans. It's a regular potato peeler. Yeah, I'm just going to do a peel in a spiral around the lemon so that I can have like a pretty little garnish. So I'm going to start and just do like a back and forth like sawing motion over my lemon. And then I'm just going to move it towards myself in a spiral around my lemon. And it's going to be a huge garnish, but that's okay. So now I have this nice little peel, and I like to express my lemon oils out of it. And I'm going to take one of my beautiful raspberries and I'm just cut a small slit and put that over my glass. I have this pretty little garnish on my glass. We can do a smaller one too.
Yeah.
Well, cheers, Tim. I hope it's delicious. Oh, that was fresh. Holy moly, that was good. Who needs cake? I'm just gonna drink this. Is yours too tart? Because you can adjust. If you were super ambitious about your lemonade and you didn't add enough simple syrup, you can always add it directly into your drink too.
I like the tart, so I'm satisfied.
I figured you would. Should we go ahead and finish off our cake then? Have you decided how you want to decorate yours?
I had no idea how I want to decorate.
I think I'm gonna do a ruffle.
What kind of tip are you thinking for your decoration?
I'm using the 104 from Wilton. We're gonna do this technique. Some people might want to do rosettes or stars, however they want to do it. It's totally fine. There are no rules to decorating a roulade. It's go time. I'm gonna grab my cake.
Okay, same.
You're gonna be just fine, I promise. So I am just unrolling mine. Some of my cream cheese frosting stuck to my towel, so just be aware that that might be happening with yours.
Yep.
But here is my roulade.
Mine too. Here's mine with the.
Oh, beautiful! Look at your raspberries, so visible. I love it. So I'm holding my tip kind of at this angle, and I'm just going to do a ruffle on the top. So as I'm squeezing, I'm just going to go back and forth. And I'm just going to do it over the very top. So here, let me give you a close up if you want to see that of the ruffle.
Okay, we'll see. My icing's pretty slack. I should have added more sugar, but it's fine. It tastes delicious. But
Yeah.
We'll see how well it holds the ruffles.
Well, if you don't want to do ruffles, you can also do whatever works best with your consistency.
Yeah. Oh no, it's okay. It's not holding. It's fine.
Also, Tim, you can just smear it and put your raspberries.
You know what? That might actually happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and add a few raspberries. Oh, mine's kind of looking Christmassy.
Yeah, now that you say that, with the green of the raspberries.
I am going to do just a small dusting of powdered sugar on top because I think it looks pretty on raspberries.
My placements. Okay, well, not terrible.
Yeah, it's your first time. I had no idea. I just assumed that you'd done one of these before, just because I know how much you bake.
Yeah, I guess I should show you.
Beautiful. Oh, it looks so good with that red plate too. Well done. Okay, got my knife. Quite an intimidating knife. I'm going to cut myself a sliver.
I am doing a very big sliver.
Good.
I am treating myself.
It means you have faith in yourself.
So.
All right. So shall we do an actual tasting where we take a little bite of our cake and take a little sip of our drink?
I am all for that.
Well, here goes, Tim. I hope this worked out nicely for you. It looks very pretty. I think yours looks delicious. Shall we?
Yes.
I feel like I have nothing to say right now because I'm too busy stuffing my face.
Yeah, this is so good, Amber.
And it's a pretty presentation, instead of doing the typical layered cake, which is always super fun to me. This is just a variation from what I normally do. And now I'm really appreciating that I didn't add a lot of extra sugar to my raspberry vodka lemonade, because the cake is sweet enough. It's not overly sweet, especially with the pistachio in there. And then the cream cheese lends a little bit of tanginess. But if I had done like a super sweet lemonade with this, it would have been way too much.
I am very jealous about the pistachio. Like, I am so curious about that now.
That is my fault. I am so sorry that I forgot to include that on our list of ingredients.
Totally okay.
Well, Tim, I am so happy to hear that you are pleased with the way this came out. It tastes amazing. The flavors complement each other well. I want to ask before we go, though, what plans do you have for this cake?
Probably keep another big slice for myself and then give away the rest.
You always need to keep some for yourself. Well, I hope your friends enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it. Again, thank you for joining me. It's always so nice to see you.
Thank you.
Bye, Tim.